Here at Christ Lutheran Church, we participate in God's mission of reconciliation and building up the kingdom of God here and being the light of the world that Jesus called us to be, reflecting and shining that light and love of Jesus through the work that we do together. This season, as we think about what it takes to do that ministry that lights up the world, we've been focusing on that theme, something to shine light in the world. And we have this resource that shares a little bit about the ministry and the ways that we already put our time, energy, and financial resources into participating in bringing God's kingdom and illuminating the world with the light of Christ. And so I wanted to share with you a little bit about this resource as you walk through it and read through it yourself and prayerfully consider how we might all deepen our commitments to the work that God is doing through Christ Lutheran Church. So as you open that packet, the first thing you'll see is a letter from me. It's a letter talking about this theme and giving thanks for being your pastor. On the next page, you'll see our entire budget. Every ministry dollar we spend, including stuff that we spend on the building and for staff, things for utilities, broken down by ministry area. And this means that I thought about how often our building is used to help our neighbors in need in an outreach capacity, how often it's used for things like Christ Lutheran Learning Center and discipleship ministries and learning and getting together for things like OWLs. And we took the money that we spend on the building and utilities and broke it into those categories so that we can see it's not just an expense, it's dollars that go towards doing ministry that can shine light in the world. On the next set of pages, we kind of break down those dollars a little bit differently. Sometimes it's easier to see things in a chart, and sometimes it's easier to see things piece by piece. And so what you see there is our current ministry investment. And it's not comprehensive at all. There's a range of dollar amounts and activities, again, by ministry area, the areas that we have for our new ministry teams. So there are little examples like how much it costs to have a guest preacher or speaker to add to our discipleship ministry and our learning, how much it costs to have communion supplies week after week. And things like communion supplies, there are some weeks when we bake bread and then we don't have that cost, right? Where a member of our community shares their gifts in a way where we don't need the financial investment. But then there are weeks where we do need the financial investment to provide the wine and the wafers or the bread. So it's just a way to see a glimpse of the ways that we already spend our financial resources and use them to do God's work with our hands, to shine the light of Jesus in the world. The next set of pages then is a set of what our dreams are. You might remember just last month in October, we approved a 2024 budget that was a significant increase from our 2023 budget. We have more ministry that we know God is calling us to do, and this is just a glimpse of what those things are. Things like instead of just paying a portion of the cost to send a youth to camp, we maybe could pay for the total cost of sending a youth to camp. Did you know it's $675 for a week of summer camp? Wow. And many of our families can help provide that, but what a gift we can give when we help to ease the cost and the burden, especially when families have more than one kid or just may not have the financial resources, but we know that camp is a place where kids grow in faith, and adults do too. So there's money in there about what it would take to have a congregational retreat and have an opportunity for all of us to grow in faith together in a place where many of us are spiritually connected, like Camp Chrysalis or Ebert Ranch Camp. Now, there's all kinds of stuff in there. I want you to know that not everything in there is something that we would absolutely do. We're going to steward those finances well. And there are things in there that the financial reason isn't the only reason that we're not doing that right now. For example, there's a mention in there about another weekly worship opportunity. I know that we're heading towards the need for that, whether it's on Sunday morning or another day or time of the week. And we wanted, in talking with counsel and stewardship, we wanted people to understand that there's a lot that goes into that, the time and preparation, the volunteer capacity needed, the planning, but also the financial resources that it costs to do something like that. We wanted you to know that there's all of that going into this. But This is a way for you to see exactly what it takes to shine God's light in the world. I give so many thanks for the ways that you already do that. The back page is also an important page. It has ways that you can think about giving. For some people, giving a tithe, giving 10% of what you have is an easy thing to comprehend and a place that you already are in your giving. Maybe you've been there for a long time, giving 10% of what you earn to the church for the sake of God's work in the world. But maybe you're not there yet, or maybe you just need another way to think about giving. So there are some ideas from ways that members of churches think about how they might give. Maybe you give as much as you spend on groceries because you need to feed your body with the word of the Lord as much as you need to feed your body with food and nourishment. There are different ways to think about that. And at the bottom is our commitment card, our pledge card. We know that we grow in faith as we give to God. We know that making a commitment helps us realize our priorities and helps us focus on those things that matter most. We seek first the kingdom of God, ways to shine light in the world, and we prioritize our giving. So that's some of the reasons that we ask and we invite and we encourage and we make commitments and pledges to support God's work through Christ Lutheran Church in the year ahead. Thank you for taking time to look through this and read through this. Thank you for taking time to pray and consider how you might deepen your commitment to our congregation and to God's work that illuminates the world with grace and love and mercy and forgiveness and wholeness and peace and love.